Right. Good morning. How are you? Welcome to Chandler's Cottage. I'm not sure how much you just saw, but did you see me praying to the Facebook gods? Please work, please work, please work. I hope you're really well this morning. We are running a few minutes late, but that's okay. You might be running an hour late because here in the state of Victoria, along with New South Wales, South Australia and Tassie.
We're all on the same.
We're not. Queensland are not.
No.
Western Australia are not.
Tassie used to be different.
Tassie used to be different, but then they came on board with us. Anyway, I hope you, as I said, I hope you're really well this morning. Everything goes to plan until the last half hour, and of course, my body clock's telling me it's still 7 a.m. But in my family, we have rules. When I say my family, my very small family, we have rules. You don't ring until 7:30 unless something is really wrong. And my dad rang at 7:29. You can imagine, can't you? Yeah, Mum's having a brief stay in Peninsula Hospital with a lung infection that was not picked up by her GP. So I'm angry and I'm relieved all at the same time. But anyway, I told her to go and get herself a Facebook account, stat, so we could wish her all good luck and best wishes, and she'll probably be home again today. Dad did not evoke the 7:30 rule, but he did ring at 7:30 on the dot, which is the same, isn't it, as ringing? But never mind. So, lost 15 minutes. Anyway, Pammy will be back on deck, hopefully later today. If not, I'll go down and see her. Good morning, Liz. Sorry, I just had to vent that. Oh, you'd be going all morning. What is her problem? Good morning, Kay, Liz, Chrissy, Jill Cross, Donna, hello. Oh, you all got up an hour earlier for me. Thank you. Good morning, Yvonne. Hello, Jane. Jane, how are you?
Me too.
Are you good? Robbie would like to point out that he got up an hour earlier as well. Jenny doesn't understand because she reckons we should have been up an hour earlier about a week ago because it was so light in the morning. Nancy, hello. Chris, good morning to you in Healesville. Pauline, Borky. Oh, does that mean you're up super early? You're 7 o'clock, aren't you? Maybe. Bobby, good morning. Susan's here. Sandy's here. Marg's here. Oh, early for you, a lot of you this morning. Good morning, Yvonne. Hello, Dell. Sue Magonchi. Oh, I've got your gelatos ready from Wednesday. Sue, I've got them, the last one coming in because I was out of stock for one. And Jill Chisholm, if you're here, I've got that ZW coming in as well. It was in stock at Melbourne Fabric, so we're all super duper. Good morning, Bernadette. Thank you. I will give Mum your best wishes. Chrissy, hi. Lois, hi. Elizabeth Kringle, good evening to you. Does this work better for you or worse? I can't remember. Right now, my brain won't calculate it for me. Debbie Nelson's like, good morning. I was up for hours. Jen, can we not do the scratchy with the bell collar? Thank you. She actually did what I told her to do. Good morning, Rita. Leslie's in the building. We discussed the Creative Escape menu for you, Leslie. Was it for you or your friend? We did that yesterday. It's all happening. Rosemary, hello. Melissa's here. It's good to be in the same time zone. I think so. Francis, Jane Pixley. I owe you an email, Jane Pixley. Jenny Peach, good morning. Oh, I love it when my neighbours pop in. Jenny, we don't live in the same street anymore, but you know what? Forever we're neighbours. We just are. Absolutely. We both left Scott Street, actually. That's not saying much for Scott Street, but we both had our reasons. Okay. 10 p.m.-ish. Oh, I do apologise. On cue, there is a chicken cackling, laying an egg. Right, calm the farm. And now we're here. So today, I'm also a little nervous because I'm realising now, as I've sat down to do this morning, I'm kind of teaching you how to suck eggs. I really am. When we have these little trips down memory lane on some good basic techniques. I'm always very conscious that I'm asking you to watch something you've probably done for years. And I'm also doing it as a self-taught person for this, for hand piecing. Haven't been to a class to do it ever in. I don't want to, do I want to count 40 years? It's pretty easy to work out this year that I have been doing patchwork. That's bad. I started really young, okay? It wasn't yesterday. But I started really young. So long ago I didn't even know Rob. Okay, I'm 58. I was 18 when I did my first quilt. So a lot of that was self-taught. I had a beautiful class with a lady in Healesville, but from my first sampler quilt, I think that's it. Maybe one with Margaretha and Mini Dresdens and a Sunblonnet Sue Doll class. I think that's it. So that's what we're going to do this morning, but we're going to combine it with some absolutely beautiful new Moda fabrics. And yes, Moda has not featured much at Chandler's Cottage over the years. If you pop the word Moda in today, which is our search word that you pop into the search window, you will find it will just bring up all the Moda fabrics, but it will also particularly bring up these lovely new ones. There are some other gorgeous ones here in the room, and when you see them, you'll go, oh yeah, that's right. But it wasn't Gin. Robbie, can you talk to Ginny, please? It wasn't that long ago. They definitely came in only the last few months, some beautiful collage-y. You'll see when you go in and have a look. But I've popped all these new ones up, and now I need to just talk to you about this beautiful box. So I had Mick and Robbie, is it Mick and Jeff? Mike and Jeff pop in. Sorry, Mike, I popped in yesterday.
Oh, that was Jeff.
That was Jeff. Jeff and Mike. Mike's the other guy that came.
Jeff's wife is Lorraine.
Yeah. Popped in, we're getting there really, on Friday, because I've got the woodies coming to our Patchwork and Produce Day, and on that day there's going to be heaps of really fun kind of grassrootsy kind of stuff going on, as well as the patchwork shop being open. I'm just looking for something to throw at Robert because he's now touching plastic. No, they're coming, and they're going to be here, and they're going to be demonstrating wood turning, and they're going to have the most beautiful things here to purchase as well, as you would. I mean, they do the most, I've got stuff, they've dropped stuff off for photos for promo, but I think I've already chosen quite a few beautiful Christmas presents as well already. So I just wanted to show you, this is one of Jeff's most amazing boxes. Do you want to have a look? This is big, but they've got smaller boxes, and they've got all those beautiful pens, and they do ones turned with resin as well. I'm just going to show you this one. I'm just so, you know, one of the most wonderful things about what we're doing with this day is inviting some local groups in as well. So is that not just divine? Margaret was eyeing this off. You know, Mark said, oh, I need another one designed, please, that I can use as a sewing box. And I'm quite happy with this one as a sewing box. But look, it's just beautiful. So the tickets, this is the thing, the tickets are now up on our, not on our website, on trybooking.com. So I'm going to pop up a separate post later today for that for you, and then we'll just start throwing them at you through Facebook and Instagram. And it's on the 30th of November, and it's $19.50 to get in. So it's a ticketed day on that Sunday. But what that $19.50 gives you is a box of homemade treats. So if you've been to any of our events, or you know my calendars or anything like that, you know we'll be baking it all here for you, and doing up a beautiful little box. So you can take that, you can have it on the veranda, you can sit in the carport, and have it, which we're going to have all set up, our undercover area, I should call it, not our carport, with preserving demonstrations as well. The CWA girls are coming, Jeremy and Lenny are coming. We caught up with them at the market at Trafalgar yesterday, and they're bringing all her beautiful organic homemade hand creams and facial creams, and she's got a whole beautiful beauty range that's all natural and made by her, plus all their sensational homegrown organic seedlings. So if you like planting 2 broccoli at a time or 1 lettuce or whatever you like, they sell them individually. So they're going to be here too. So it's going to be just a lovely big open day where you come in and there'll be lots of things to look at in here in the shop shed. We're doing bottling, pickling, jam making, drying, and a few other bits as well on display. So it's just a fun day out, and that's kind of our wrap up for the year. We will FaceTime during that day. Cam will be in to take photos for you as well, so we'll have a lovely record of it. But they're on sale now on trybooking.com. So I'll pop up the link later, and in the meantime, if you wanted to go and have a look, it's trybooking.com, and just pop in Patchwork and Produce Day. Okay, so I'm going to pop this over here carefully, or hand it to Rob carefully.
Thanks.
Because Rob hasn't seen them all yet. We've got this pile of stuff and he hasn't seen it all, so he'll love looking at that later. Right, so that's that. We've only got 3 weeks to the Creative Escape as well, so make sure you've checked out my email that I've sent out to you for everything for prepping for the day if you're coming down, what to bring if you haven't been before, but if you have, you know what to expect. So the main thing I need is any dietary requirements in before it all kicks off. Thanks Jane. Yeah, and look, people are saying, what if it's raining? It's an all-weather event. We've got phase 2 all planned. Plan B is all good for a bad day. And Rob's got, I didn't know Rob's eyebrows could go that high, but you've always said to me, on a need-to-know basis, yeah? Need-to-know basis. I can see we've been joined by some other friends. Good morning, Michelle. Donna's here from Tassie. Anne, good morning. I can see you've popped in as well. Hello, Sue. I've got some people here watching from somewhere else as well whose names I can't pronounce. Good morning, Lorraine. How are you? Are you good? You're good? Saw you the other day. Okay, so today we're actually going to do some hand piecing with, as I said, all the beautiful Moda behind me. And I'm just going to move things here. Let's just look at this lot first. Not my morning coffee, sorry. So these are the new Modas, well, one set of the new Modas I've got in, and this is the set that I'm going to work with. You see that there? They're just, I don't know, I think because they're so fresh and we are heading towards the warmer months, they're really pleasing my eye. These are called Nantucket Summer, and you can see there would be more in the collection, girls, but this is what saying to me that I wanted to have in our shop. I love this green. This is actually what I would call a blue green. It's not a yellow green, it's not a brown green. It is a blue green, and therefore it sits very nicely next to blues. So there's a little spray print, and then I chose two geometrics in the green for contrast in colour and in design. Almost like a little ticking. There's a lovely little floral, and these are just about 1/2 inch wide. They're not big if you're wondering about the scale. That spray is just gorgeous. Look at that. A stripe, a little dot again for texture and difference. And then in the blue, in the dark blue, I grabbed the little rosy floral stripe. This is the double stripe. And there's the spray again. Then I did the spray in the pale blue, and also in a lovely little check. This sang to me as well, because I thought about how gorgeous to do some little French knot flowers or something in here if we wanted to. But the stripes will be great for little sashings, pin tucks in between blocks, all that sort of thing. So this is up under Moda as a little pre-cut pack, and it's, as always, it's a little bit more economical than buying it by the 1/2 metre or metre pieces, which you can do as well. Now I wanted, it was a personal thing, I really wanted these, and so it was a good excuse to get them in. But what we're going to work on today is the castle ceiling quilt. We're going back and having a look at that for hand piecing, so that could actually be an amazing scrappy quilt as well. The main thing that you sort of want with this quilt that we're going to have a look at, or this pattern, I don't have this quilt, and my big one's up in a top cupboard somewhere. It was the first one that I made. but I'm going to show you the cover of the pattern. You can have a look at it on the website as well. So this, there you go, this is the pattern. Now, it's called the Castle Ceiling Quilt, and you can see we need a contrast to go in here, which we're going to talk about. Actually, Rob, if you're not too far away, can you come back and grab me that denim shirting that we tagged? Or I can just hold it up against the shirt I'm wearing, actually. But it's an 8-pointed Dresden with a cross block in between. But I called it the Castle Ceiling Quilt because I took it off the ceiling in the Warwick Castle in England. That's where I saw it. And incredible, if you've been, incredible ornate ceiling. And that was back in the day before, that was 94. Oh, a long time ago. It was back in the days before we had iPhones or anything, and I had my camera and I took a picture of the ceiling. Now, we hadn't seen the signs that said you can't take photos. So when we got out, I don't know, I had Dad with me and Rob, so they kind of wore the security guard down because the roll of film that was in my camera had 3 weeks of photos on there that I've been taking. Remember when you go on holidays and you had the roll, and you had to wait till you got all the way home and take it down to the chemist or the photograph shop to get them developed, and you hoped you had a good shot. Remember? We've lost all that now. None of that reliving it all when you get home and get the photos developed thing. We wore him down and we got to keep it only to get to the souvenir shop, and there was a postcard with it on. The photo didn't turn out. It's a big reel. It's just here, sweetheart, up against the back of the pole. So I had this for years and years and years, and then I made it in the end, thank you, Tar, with beautiful metallic Hoffmans. Probably the first time I really fell for metallics in a big way, in a really big way. So yeah, that's up high, and that was one that I exhibited. If you have a look at this as well, you can see that I haven't put anything in the middle on these, but my original one, I've got a little Suffolk puff in the middle of each one in the cross block fabric, so it gave it a little bit more of a pop. With the big one I remember that was my plan to exhibit, and the day before we were going to Merimbula with the kids, I realised I needed to make 107 times. I don't know, it was a lot. And so I sat in the car all the way to Merimbula making Suffolk puffs, trying not to get car sick while doing so. So that's what we're going to work on today with these lovely fabrics. There's a couple more ranges here as well. This one is Sally's Stitches. So there's another collection here called Sally's Stitches. Isn't that beautiful? Now, in the drama this morning, I can't remember if I put these online or not yet. I've taken the photo. Leave that with me. I need to double check for you, but if not, I'll put it straight up after the show. And you've got till midday Tuesday to combine orders, all right? So don't worry too much. But I've done them up in a pretty little bundle. These are softer. These are more along the lines of a vintage look because they have got more of a cream background on them. So you can see it's more of a cream in here, and this is a white or an off-white, not a complete white. You could get away with them together. Now I've got 5 of these, so I have fat quarter bundled this lot rather than the others that are in a fat 1/8. Do you want to just see? I'm just going to show you. Look. So cute. And you know, it's we like a varied shop, but one has to be very careful. Can you imagine if I sat these next to Yomu? They're going to be on opposite sides of the room, don't they? They definitely do. I have to commandeer a shelf we've got out at the back that we use to just throw stuff on out for fabric, because we now have too much fabric to make it all fit. Even with the Susie sale, which is still running, and there's still a lot of stuff up on there. So you pop the word Susie in, S-U-S-I-E, there's still a heap on sale. I may have added some more in. Now these came in a couple of weeks ago, but just in the fury of Melbourne and everything, I didn't get them up. This is Colour Crush. This is a more contemporary look from Moda and from this designer. It just screams bags. It really does. or a nice big quilt. I've got a mate in England, Carol. You know how you've got mates and then you have mates you like to brag, not just that they're your mate, but because they are an amazing person, like Carol, who runs Auntie Betty's Tea Rooms in York, the biggest tea rooms in the UK. Incredible, incredible person. And she is incredible with her interior design in their beautiful old 18th century cottage as well. And this to me is just her. Look at that. They're just stunning. But again, can you see what I mean? It's a studio bag, it's a traveller bag. I just want to put all of them together. Our big bold pocket tote that we worked on as well, talking about handbag design with pockets, all of that. Just yum. So I've neglected them a bit because they came in a very busy time and I have not been playing with them, so I might do them a little bit more justice this week in here. That's a cream on that background, or sorry, an off-white on that background as well, not a pure white. So if you need, where do I put them? Oh, over here. This one, we've had this little one for a while. This is summertime, but I want to just show you the two colour works that I've got. So this is, without my glasses on, super white. I'm not sure you'll be able, oh, you might be able to pick the difference. And that is snow. Snow. Oh, you can see it. Oh, that's good. Look at that. You can see this is pure white and that's your ivory there. So with Nantucket Summer, you can run either. You can go, I reckon you can go ivory or you can go down to the white, depending on if you need a background in a really super solid to go with it. You can run both. And the other thing with Nantucket Summer, it does come with a solid. Now I didn't put that in the fat quarter pack, sorry, the fat eighth pack, because this is kind of a different sort of quantity that you might need. If you wanted to use that for your cross blocks in this quilt, you could, or you could go with the plain, or you might like to incorporate something else, or use the stripe. This one is from that other range that I mentioned. This is summertime, but this one we've had for a little while as well. But you can see they've matched up their greens, and if you've got this in your stash already, this all works. It gives you a slightly lighter green. But yeah, that's all really. I do love this green. Oh my goodness. If I could have a car that colour, I would. There's someone driving around Warrigal in a ute in a metallic green this colour, and I get ute envy. It's not normal, is it? I get ute. I've been in the country now, yeah, for a while. I get ute envy. See, I love it with the blue too. Now I'm just playing with you. Sorry, I'm gonna put this one back. Okay. Also, the classic, the denim works really well. So this is light denim, and I've tagged it. Remember, this is 150 wide. Just about poking you through the camera lens with it then, sorry. And so if you pop this on top, I know a lot of you will have this in your stash because I do recommend it for a lot of different things. Let me just put that like that. There you go. Neutral denim. I have just ordered, this is getting a bit low for me, this roll, and I'm just ordered a big fat new roll of it because Jason has a big fat new collection coming in. And I'm going to use the light denim for some things and the dark denim, but mainly the light denim. So I'm going to put these here because we're now going to use them. Just got to pick this up and put it over here. If you've have a look through at what you've got, a neutral, even the beautiful navy blue linen that we have will work as well. So have a look at what you've got. What I'm trying to say is don't overdo the purchase until you've had a look at what you've got in your stash. And finally, I popped up Liberty Blue I just forgot I had this one up there, to be honest. That's the Liberty Blue, and that's pretty sensational. So that's going to give you absolute full contrast. You can see I've got a couple of fat quarters I just got sitting over here. I started yesterday just to cut in fat quarters, and I thought, may not need that much. You just might not. So if you decide you need 2 packs so that you've essentially got a fat quarter of both, we will cut to order for you. So if you order 2 fat 8s, I'm actually going to cut it for you in 25 centimetres. So that you've got it as one piece instead of 2 separate ones. We'll do that. So I'm going to hold off until Tuesday to see what everyone's ordered, and then I'll cut it that way. Susie will be very happy if she doesn't have to cut too much into fat 8s anyway. I don't know why she puts up with me. All right. So, I did do most of it, yes. Yeah, I never went to a hand piecing class, sorry. I didn't do it. So let's have a look at the way that I would suggest that you have a go. Hand piecing is a beautiful thing to do. It's like hand quilting, it's like slow stitching, it's like easy embroidery. It can become quite, what am I trying to say, sedatory. It calms you down. It's like a little bit of, I don't know, a little bit of peace and quiet, if you like, a little bit of meditation. So with this pattern, the first thing that will, like, this is up as a digital download, and it's also up as a hard copy to send you. But please also remember, if you are in a quilter's life, then I popped it up for you yesterday. So this is incorporated in your $10 a month membership, all right? So it's there for you already. So you don't need to buy it. It's included. But what we've got in, there we go. So we've got instructions in here, and I've also popped instructions in for a table runner. And so when you get to the back, the first thing you might think with these diagrams is that's with and without the seam allowance, but you'll see written on them, there's a larger one for the table runner and then a smaller one for the quilt. There's no reason why you can't make the quilt larger by using the larger templates. I just wanted to give you an alternative. And with the larger templates in here, if you've got, oh, look good in Melba in the kaleidoscope that we've still maybe have some of, or in the project panel. Anyway, we've got the kaleidoscope. If you've bought some of that, then this larger one in here is going to be perfect to fussy cut all the little stems of waratahs and things from. If you wanted to, you could do it with a lovely Christmas fabric, anything like that for a really nice table runner for Christmas or any other time of the year. But I'm going to work with these smaller ones today. So, trials and tribulations of teaching yourself and not going to a class. It may just be that when I've made several mistakes, they stick better in my in my head. I'm just going to reach across and get a pen. So the first thing is, I wouldn't suggest actually cutting the pieces out from the pattern. And you may turn off now if I'm telling you how to suck eggs, I'm sorry, but I don't cut it out, because the second you start cutting out, when you want a precision piece, you start adding some variation in. So I tend to go straight to tracing them onto a clear plastic or template plastic. And whenever I can, I will line up one of the straight edges here with the straight edge on my template plastic. Not a straight edge that I've cut, because then it won't be straight on the plastic, but the manufacturer's straight edge on the edge of a sheet. And I don't trace on the lines, because I can't draw in a perfect straight line, so I don't try. But also, we will straighten those up with a ruler. So with this other one, I'll just draw this on. It might be hard for you to see at the moment, but it'll be clear in a minute for you. So next to that one, I'm going to line up the cross block template. I'm going to mark where it starts on the edge of my template plastic. And then I just do a little dot. Now I'm using a thicker Sharpie so that you can see it, but when you do it yourself, please just use a really fine grey lead or a chalk pen or something like that to draw it on, because the finer your line, the more accuracy you're going to get. True, we do have a lot of our edges on these templates are cut on the bias. I'm just going to pop this bit of paper back under here, and then it'll be easier for you to see what I'm doing. Here we go. So a little ruler, and then I will go through and join up my dots. But as I said, try and work with a fine pen, or you can get Sharpies in the super fine ones. I just didn't have one on my desk. I'm not going to run off and get one. But then I thought, oh, I'm already 5 minutes late, so let's just go with a thick one, and then you'll be able to see it better anyway. Oh, I got a smudge, never mind. So then we'll draw this one on here. And a lot of patterns will also give you a second template with your seam allowance on it. And that's also fine. But the way that we're going to do it today, we don't need. We can get away without it. There we are. Alright, so scissors. Which ones am I going to mutilate? No. Maybe. Okay. So paper, scissors, and because I've cut these, drawn these up quite thick, I'm going to cut right down the middle of my Sharpie. If it's a small template as well, try and do it in one blade cut rather than having to stop and start again. So you can see I'm going right down into the absolute end, or the V, of the scissor blades, so there's only one edge, and that just avoids you getting any little jagged edges on your templates, which are going to drive you nuts. You won't always be able to do that, but we'll give it a go. There's one. And we'll do the one for the pointed Dresden. I think the great thing, I mean, we've talked about this a lot, but having something that's portable to take with you, particularly in, oh look, hairdressers tomorrow, particularly in stressful situations where you've got to sit for a while, it's so nice to have work with you. And I'll be honest with you, if I go down and sit with Mum for a couple of hours, if they don't let her out today, there will be handwork packed to take with me, and it's just nice, isn't it? Because you take it with you. You've got something to do while you're waiting for your own appointment, or you're sitting with someone else, and you can just, or you're sitting in an airport lounge, and then it becomes a conversation piece as well. It's really nice to talk about what you're doing. I'm going to just double check with you how we went with these. So I want to just go back and check that everything lines up nicely, and if I'm honest, I need to take, see, I didn't quite get down the middle of that texture. Okay, that one's good to go, and then we'll just check this one. And that one's also super good. So now we've got ones that we can draw onto our fabric. Clear plastic, if you haven't got opaque or you can't see it on the colour of your floor, just remember to pop a little star or something on it so that if it does hit the floor you can see it. It's one of the problems, isn't it, with clear templates. So I've done that. Now we get to play with the fabric. I've got my cutting mat here. If you run your hand over your cutting mat, it's quite noisy, and so there's a little bit of texture in there. Also feels like there's something under there. Nope, a little bump. It's got a little bit of texture in it, so it will give you a little bit of friction while you're drawing on your pieces. The other thing you can do that I've mentioned before is grab yourself a sheet of sandpaper at the hardware shop, and just use that to sit underneath your fabric. Depending on the fabric, and also depending on the sort of the marker or whatever you're using to draw it on, so that it doesn't distort underneath the template. So I'll show you what I mean. So if I lay this out and I sit this on top, if I just pretend that my finger is a pen for a minute, when I do that, it will move and lift underneath, and you don't want that to happen. Just in the chaos of this morning, I did not bring out my sandpaper board, but it would be what I would usually use. But because I'm not, I'm going to make sure that whatever I use to draw on is nice and soft and it doesn't distort too much. So let's just have a look. Just hold it down firm. You can see it just lifts a little bit. I'm using the black chalk pencil, so this would be fine to use, but again, I want something that you can see. So I'm just going to swap to an ink pen so you can see it. So you just want minimal movement on your pieces underneath. So I'm sorry I haven't got my board out here. It's buried somewhere in a basket with a project, I think. So I've got one on there. Now remember, we need that seam allowance added on later, so I'm leaving enough room in between them. And I could get really efficient with my fabric as well. So that one's on there. So they're now ready to add a seam allowance round. I'm going to grab another one that's a bit lighter. And the other thing you can do, this is fine, but it's not the most efficient way, is I can actually sit my template 1/4 of an inch from the top here. This is all, I know it's all common sense, but sometimes we're a bit distracted. We can be halfway through drawing it up and then go, oh. Then I can dovetail it the other way, leave 1/2 inch in between them, and go the other way. And then the only waste I'm going to have are these little bits here. And then you could start down the other end. So it's just a case of you're either going to be fussy cutting from something, but if not, if it's an all over pattern like this, you can dovetail them as well. Now we need to add on their seam allowance. So you can do this if you've got a strip like this. You can actually do it with, what am I trying to say? With your rotary cutter. So I grab that. Oh no, we're cutting into the fabric. Right, I'm going to fold this bit back so I don't have to cut it out as a square for now. Then I can come through and use my ruler. Now you're going to want good grip on your ruler as well if you do this. So I can cut in between them like that. So I'm using my rotary colour to give me my 1/4 inch seam allowance. So you can draw on and cut by hand, or if you do them in a row like this, you can add it. Now you would have seen that I guessed the 1/4 inch in between those wedges. You can measure it, of course you can. But the reason I'm not too stressed about it is we are hand piecing. Therefore, we're going to be using this line that I've drawn on to match up our seam lines. We're not going to be using a foot on a sewing machine. And so in that respect, it's a little bit like paper piecing, in that the final shape is determined by the seam line, not the amount of seam allowance that you have left. So this is where your little rulers come in super handy as well. There you go. So that's the super quick, easy way to do it, all of them in a row. But if you were fussy cutting from something else, then you're going to want to draw on your seams. So I'll do these two. And I prefer to put my seam allowance on later, and you know that because I always do that in handbags and stuff like that. So because I love having that line there just to reassure me I know what I'm doing, especially when I'm going around curves, but also with this sort of work where you're coming down to a point. A lot of Y seams going on. So we are pretty much not going to be going to the end of all of our raw edges with our stitching. So we'll get to that in a tick. Okay, I'll draw these two on. Isn't this... Who would have ever thought Leesa Chandler sitting hand piecing with... Oh, Mr. Line? Oh, Mr. Line. With Moda. Shock horror. Maybe it's the little bit of country that has come into our lives. And when I mean a little bit, I mean a huge amount. That has sent me down this path. But I'm pretty happy about it. Wrong scissors, right? Okay. So when you hand cut, you know, you're going to get a little jagged edge where you stop and start with your scissors, and that's all fine. No one's going to see it. But we will have to think about which way we're going to iron our single ounces if we are going to use fabrics that have a light background. On the patchwork and produce day, we will be doing some demos, and there will be handwork going on as well, mostly. So put that down there. So there's those ones out of there, and then we need to do a cross block. So I'm thinking, for the purpose of this exercise, I'm going to go the solid blue. You'll be able to have a great play around with this. Now with this one, in terms of efficiency, because we've got these straight lines, I'm actually thinking that we will go just straight down a 1/4 inch in from the edge. So with this, I mean, I could have gone lengthways down if I was up to the serious part of a big project. Draw a 1/4 inch line right down the edge, and then I can just sit the template up against it like this. Leave enough room in between. Like that. Then I can come through with my ruler, I'll use my bigger one, and just rotary cut right down. It's, to me, it's, you know, if I'm sitting at my desk and I've got my cutting board, my ruler and my rotary cutter, I'll do little quick time-saving steps like that. Then I've only got to cut the points in. And we all sit at night going, my hands really hurt. Where's the Nurofen gel that the Voltaren or the Nurofen gel sits on my table next to my chair in the TV room. It gets used instead of hand cream at night time. So we're not doing that anymore, but we do. We go back the next day because it's just what we want to do. But the most I can get done with rotary cutting instead of hand cutting with scissors, I think, is an advantage. What shall we do? We're going to do the other way? Oh no, we'll come back to it. I can't make that decision yet. It's too much decision making. All right, let's get started with these. So come over here and let's have a look. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's going to be half our Dresden block like that. And then we've also got a couple of our cross blocks that will go in between. Cute, like that. Okay. So now let's talk about getting them together. With hand piecing, I would say almost more than maybe the same as machine piecing. You need super nice, fine, sharp pins. I find people always balk when they come in and they see how much the clover pins are, but they come in a little case, and if you buy the good ones and you respect them, you will have them for your entire patchwork life. And they do need looking after, and they need to be not disrespected like this. Look at that. Isn't that disgusting? We've got paper clips, the bias maker. Oh yeah, I need that. We've got T-pins. They are not a piecing pin. These are from, this is what we used to hang our quilts on walls in an exhibition. So that's out. Another paper clip. Machine quilting, safety pins. It's an embarrassment. This is really fun. I've got zip pulls, but this is the one that sits out here, and my clips. It's so bad. But it does need a clean up. These should all be in their own little box or container if you're not doing a Facebook show a couple of times a week. Let's just grab these out. Anyway, these are the ones that I use. Applique pins, very different. They are shorter and in most cases not as fine as these. A couple of mine are bent because I've run over them with the sewing machine probably, or I've used them at the wrong time. So they're not super strong, but they are super fine and they're great for this. So I'm going to flip that one over onto there and pop a pin in the point on one, and then you can see when I go to the back it's nowhere near the point on the other one. So we'll pick this one up and we'll impale it onto the point as well, and then I'll come around and just pick up a little bit, just a little bit of the fabric when you go in and out. If you pick up too much, you won't have the flexibility to rotate these on top of each other to line up the next one. So keep that really, really down to just grabbing a small amount, and then we'll go to the top and do the same at the corner. I would just like to add the authenticity of the blowfly I hired to fly around the set during my show, just to, for those people overseas, you know you really are watching someone in Australia, it's not just the accent. Robbie, if you're listening, can you bring the fly spray, please? There we go. You can also, can you hear that? You can hear sheep in the background. If you come to visit this week, well, from now for a while, well, they're super cute. We have 13 lambs in the front paddock and they are super cute. They're a pack now. They're like a, go away fly. They're like a, I don't know, a pack of teenagers running around the play yard just causing havoc. How's that? So a little bit at the top, pick up a little bit at the bottom so you've got some mobility, and then 2 in the middle at least, because remember these are cut on the bias. Now one other thing too, if you're deciding to use some fabrics you've had for a long time, or perhaps they are ones that have got a little bit more give in them. Who's sorry they're late? Ah, Sylvia. That's fine, mate. They've got a little bit more stretch. Or if you're like me and you've got your little packs of kimono silks that you've bought at one of the craft fairs, I reckon I know who you all are, and they're just sitting there because you had to have them. You love them. They're gorgeous. They were beautiful to buy, and they just look lovely in the pack, but they're just sitting there. If you decide that it is time to say it's only a piece of fabric and you want to use them in something like this, of course you can, but there's 2 things I'd recommend. One, if it's super thin, pop some weft on the back. All right, I haven't tagged it, I'm just realised now, but it's fine. Weft, W-E-F-T. It's an adhesive weft, and when you put it on, remember to put it under your ironing applique Teflon mat to heat protect it as well. But give it a little bit of oomph at the back if it needs it. But otherwise also we need to protect the edge because it's a soft woven fabric. So I suppose this goes if you wanted to do it with upcycling an old linen tablecloth or some doilies or an old shirt or something like that. You might need a little bit more stability on the edge. So what I would recommend for that, which we've done, you know, a few times, is to get out your 1/4 inch tape. I've got to find the edge of it now because I used all mine up. All right, so we'll get this, and we're going to get a piece that is long enough to go on this edge. So if you remember, the other great thing about this is if you are going to machine piece, this is 1/4 inch wide, so it also gives you an accurate 1/4 inch. So I'm going to pop that right down there, and then it stabilizes that fabric. You can do it on both, of course. Sorry, I just have to, you know, I have to tell you what's going on this. You know what's going on at the moment? Do you know? It's dinner time, almost, I think, in Houston. I don't know what, I think it's pretty much there. They're at the end of their day, and it is Houston Trade Show this week. So in the background, my brain is, because Jason is now presenting and representing us in America. He's launched us in America this week. And I've got, while I'm talking to you, I've got text messages coming through. I just have to be honest with you. And I'm very nervous. Anyway, there we go. So we put it on one, but you can see what I mean when I put this on top. Are we going to do this with Yomu? Oh, we could. Sorry. Good. A little bit there and a little bit here. Now I'll show you. See what I mean? This now, it can't stretch. So that's going to hold that there for you. And it also is going to stop it fraying. Now when you take it off though, don't rip it off like a band-aid. Okay, you just pull it very, very gently when you take this piece off. I do know, I did meet someone in the States that picked up on this, which was lovely, but what they also did was they didn't do it with a masking, with the tape, the quilter's tape, which is essentially like a masking tape. They did it with a very, very, well, with a 1/4 inch wide piece of a solid iron-on Vilene, and that way they could leave it in. However, they're also someone that doesn't press their quilt tops once they have finished them. She just finger presses, and I think that's important to note, because when you know what it's like when you hit that adhesive, if you want a really nice sharp fold back on your seam allowances, you need a lot of heat. And I was always worried that the Vilene would start to crinkle up because it's a polyester, and I'm not sure I wanted a polyester in there. However, you could also do it with that. Rob is now standing here. He's on standby.
Millie's out again.
Millie's out again.
And 4 lambs just took off like they're running laps.
Oh yeah, I just told the girls about the lambs.
I know, that's what I was saying it for.
They go, hey, let's run to the other side of the paddock. And one takes off and turns around and goes, meh, and they all follow and they race across the other side. What? He's in here somewhere. Give it to me, Anon. It's spring.
Gotta catch him.
Gotta catch it.
Sure.
All right, Millie's out again.
Yep.
That's the orange one, yes?
Yep.
She is getting wing clipped today. Where did I get that accent from? She's getting wing clipped. You know that, don't you? It doesn't hurt them. You just got to trim their feathers on one wing so that they're lopsided and they can't fly. Millie's our escapee. She goes over that and she flies up on the top of the chicken coop, and never mind. Oh, though I have to tell you, we had one that used rocked up at our place one day, and a guy brought it to us. She was out on the street and he thought it was ours, and I panicked. It was one of our 3 girls. Raced out the back. No, ours were there, and this one had just flown over a tall paling fence. And when the owner rocked up, she said, I trimmed her wings. And I said, both wings? And she said, yes. I said, well, that's just like, she's now an A380 with 2 short wings. She's balanced again. You can't do that. You've got to trim one, or otherwise she's just an A380. Okay, let's just do this one. Anyway, if you are coming up this week, you'll see us in full flight of weeding garden beds. And the irises are nearly all out, so it'd be nice to if you like flowers, there's some nice ones out. You can see here, I haven't quite, see I've got a gap. I'm going to ease it in. The joys of hand piecing. So I'm going to put one there, like that. Okay, so that's going to open up like that. Right, thread. I grabbed a new confetti, a new reel this morning. This is 103. So this is a really nice sort of sit between a, there's a sheep, sit between a white and a cream. So it'll work for both. And the other thing that I'm using are clover piecing needles. So you remember this, don't you, that your piecing needles are super strong tensile strength. They won't bend. And then your applique needles will bend because then it works better as a tool. So we're going to get our threaded needle ready to go. These are great too. They've got a really nice big hole in them. They're easy to thread. Now, there's a sheep. Can you hear it? I hope you can, because it's just adding to the atmosphere. So we're going to wind is one option and give ourselves a knot. Pull it through your fingers. But the other thing you can do is a back stitch as well and a loop. Meh. So if I take that off, I'm going to come right in here down at the point, take out my pin, I'll come down, so I've just got a little bit of thread left. I'll go over again in the same spot, and then when I've got a little loop left, a little loop of thread left there, trying to get it to see that, then I'm going to thread my needle through. A lot of amazing, what I would call professional hand pieces, this is what they'll do. I'm pretty sure I learned that from Ginny Byer, just names dropping, but I think I did. Not in person, maybe on one of her videos. And that way you don't end up with a knot down here and your work will sit flatter. Then, just depending on who you're out to impress, you'll start doing a running stitch along. If you've got a really nice sharp strong needle like this and a good thimble perhaps behind you, you can take up a good inch, inch and a half before you stop. So you can see I've got a whole heap on there. Take the pin out and pull it through. These needles that I'm using, do you remember Lushin, the thimble lady? A lot of us have got beautiful thimbles from her. This is the needle that she used to have especially ordered in for her from Clother, and Tony at Victorian Textiles used to get them for her quilting. So this is the needle she used to use because it was the right length and super strong and sharp. And that was before she got the factory in Japan to make these for her under her own brand. They used to sit up in a little box on a top shelf in Tony's first warehouse, and I knew where they were because she told me where they were. So this is a great needle for particularly piecing, and they worked for Lushin because she never quilted through really thick wool batting. She always stuck to a really thin pile, and that's why she was able to produce the most amazing quilting stitches with it, because she stuck to a thin pile. So most of us will end up with a bigger stitch because we have got to squash down all of that pile when we're getting our needle through all the layers. Just telling you that bit. Now, the other thing that I was taught is to, once you've gathered up your desired amount, so I'm actually going to stop a little bit shorter here. And you know, I think it was Nicole that first opened the stitching post in Barry Morris with her husband, Russell. Once you've done about an inch, when you come up again, you backstitch. And what that actually means is, if in 100 years, when that seam comes adrift or from wear and tear, it's not going to unravel a long way, because in the middle of your running stitch, you've got a backstitch. It's just like trying to watch paint dry, sorry. I'll just get up to this point. So we're not going to go all the way to the end. We're going to stop at the point, because we need to bring another piece in between with a Y seam. So again, a back stitch through the loop, give it a tug, and we're done. Oops. So when we open this out, we've got our little seam here, like that. And my iron's not plugged in, is it? No, give me a tick. I'm just going to plug it in. So it's Kim McLean, isn't it? Kim McLean, Sydney, am I right? Who never presses her quilt tops. She says it doesn't. It's all finger press. I remember that when Chris Sarong lived up there for a few years and I went up to visit. That's what I learnt, but I can't help myself. I need to. I'm pressing towards the dark side here. But I also want to just trial this, because yeah, we're fine. We are fine. You can go either way. This fabric will take it. I actually want to make sure that it does, because when you've got all of your Dresden together, I want you to iron it all in one direction. And what that then results in is all your little centers will pinwheel sort of around each other, and you'll get a really nice flat center. So I'm really happy. I'm going to actually iron it that way to show you. Not a lot, just a little. See that? So you can't see it, and if you can, it's only because I've got a dark background under it. Once I've got my batting underneath it, I can't see that seam underneath there. So that's brilliant that we're going to be able to do that. So this one, if you want to go and get a coffee, do, because I'm going to be a minute. This is the other colour that I grabbed this morning. This is 717. It's, just going to do that a little bit to get that up and cut it. Remember, don't push it all the way through the sleeve, because sometimes they can unravel at the top. Look at this blue-green. Oh, I love this. If you've got our 700 though, the one that we use a lot, it'll still work. That's a great match. All of my scissors and my pins are all magnetized from sitting in that heavy magnet dish. I do like the magnet dish though. It's particularly good if you need to pick them up off the floor. Okay, so I'll do this one with the tape in it, with the green, and we'll see how that goes. So again, I'll just do a back stitch and loop it through. So I am thinking in the middle of all these, I might still put a little Suffolk puff, or a little circle at least. I'm not sure. We'll see what it looks like later on. I've started at the top this time. It doesn't really matter which way you go. It's not a deal breaker. I did find it easier going in the other direction though. And of course the disclaimer, because I'm left-handed, you'll be on the other side anyway. But just, do you set yourself targets at night time when you sit down and go, right, tonight I'm going to do 2 Dresdens, or every night this week I'm going to make 5 Suffolk puffs? And it's really nice sort of through the week to go, well, I didn't fall asleep in the chair every night from the television. And a little bit of, what does Margaret say? It's a step forward. It doesn't matter if it's a little step, it's just a step forward. Just keep moving forward. I think I missed my back stitch, didn't I? Let me just go back and do that again. Okay. Now, I did decide to use these Modas today because they are new and I love them, but there are so many things in this shed that would work really well. Those beautiful mixed metallic essentials from Robert Kaufman that we did last week, there's a whole heap of stuff that'll look good. So we've got another one, and I'm going to iron it the same way. It will go that way, but first we'll just carefully take off our tape, and that came off really nice and easy. And then again, I will press towards the light colour And that one is going to go there. Oh, I didn't do that. I did them around the wrong way. Will I cut another one? No, I won't. I got another one to go in here. Do you see what I did? What a classic. What a nuff. All right, let's work with these two. I need to put another one in. Put them together in pairs, please, ladies, so that they all face the right way, not like this. What a nuff. Okay, so when you come to the cross blocks, we'll put the white back in. We've got some short side joining to do first, so these go together in pairs. I can't believe I did that. Let's blame Mum for just taking up that little big fat bit of extra space in my brain this morning. Oh my goodness, I hope she hasn't not, if you want to, or slip. Let's hope she hasn't set up a Facebook account while sitting there. Ooh. Okay. Oh, and I'm still dead because I'll upload this to YouTube later and she'll watch it on there. Okay. And then off we go. If you do a lot of hand piecing and you find that your poor little finger sitting underneath gets a bit of wear and tear, think about just putting a thimble on that one as well. It doesn't have to be a swish one that you might have bought for your main finger up here, but even just a little rubber one or something just to protect the top of your finger if you need to. I work with a naked finger because I like to feel the needle hit it, but it does get a lot of work. The reason I want to continue and just do this one with you is to talk about Y seams. Now, we can iron to one side and then the same with the other, but the main thing is that we have to remember that both these sides need to stay they stay together, but out here, sorry, these sides need to stay open. If you want to, you can press them apart, but traditionally we were always taught to keep your seams to one side for hand piecing, sorry, because it gives it better stability. Because if you open this up, sort of your stitches are exposed to more wear and tear. So that's just what we were taught, and it's probably a good rule. So if I've got both of these together and I've got the other set setting out here, I'll fold one to one side and one to the other so that I can abut them together here in the middle, all right? So this is going to go in here. At the moment it looks like, wow, the cross block's going to look really huge compared to these, but remember we've got a whole set of 8 going on out here, further out, so that will all work super fine. Okay, so I'm going to flip this over, and I can't tell you how many times I have got this wrong, and I've put it on here, I've put it on the wrong spot. Just, it happens. So I'm going to flip this over. And again, you can use your masking tape if you want to. Make sure they match up. And now we're coming down to this end. We're going to open up this seam here. So we don't want any of our seam allowance getting caught. So we're going to push it all out of the way. Get our needle right down into that little spot where we ended off our last thread on the corner, and then bring it through. You can see how far off I am. You think you can get away with it, and then you start doing this and you go, no, I can't, I've got to pin it. So that's going to go in there. Now here we've got an edge cut on the bias and then an edge cut on the straight. So we know that the stability is going to come from this side. So if you wanted to do any masking tape, you'd put it on this side, all right, for this one. But I think we'll be okay because I've only got my fabulous Moda cotton. 3 pins will do this one, and so we'll just whiz across this bit with another bit of thread. I'm cutting short bits, but it means I'm having to change a lot. The little pointed Dresdens on their own, you can shrink that size down. I mean, you can make this even smaller if you want to. Just reduce the size of the templates on the diagram page, just like I enlarged it for the table runner. But I did that knot without even thinking. It's just a habit. Let's leave it in just for this one. So you can go smaller, and if you take it down probably to 2/3 of the size or half the size, they make, just the Dresdens on their own, they make super cute pin cushions. I don't know if you can hear that clicking, but that clicking is my needle tip hitting my finger. I didn't realise it was so noisy because I've usually got the television on. Or a podcast, or the news. Oh no, the news is not the news much at the moment. I can't handle the news. Okay. Well, it doesn't evoke, I need to know what's going on, but it doesn't evoke a lot of happy thoughts, does it? Oh, I just went a bit political. Whoops. All right, back stitch, loop, and we're up in that corner. There you go, so that one's on. And then we need to pivot this round, so twist it round, and it's going to go down this side. So again, a pin right up into that corner. And then in here and in here. Now, if we were sewing this by machine, which you can, I think the table runner size is a really nice one to try out, a bit bigger, we would always make sure that this side that is on the bias is always face down, not face up, because the feed dogs on your machine will pull it through for you a lot better. And take in any extra slack that happens because it's cut on the bias. Again, another knot. Naughty. Okay. If you're worried about the evenness of your stitches, you can always measure and just see how many have I got per inch. And because if you find as the evening goes on, you're getting tighter and you're doing bigger stitches and you want to just check, you can always measure it, a bit like measuring cross-stitch canvas. Okay. And just making sure that seam allowance is out of the way on the back. And then we're done. Ha, Rosemary, all the time. Mistakes are the best way that we learn. Isn't that the line? That is the line, always. I won't make that mistake again for a while until I forget. We're nearly there. One more and then we can give it a press. So you've got those beautiful Sally stitches as well that will give you that sort of more reproduction look. They're just beautiful. I'm wondering if they're the right colour blue. No, these are for my bedroom. I want to get a bed runner done for our bed before Christmas, and also to put us on display on our Patchwork and Produce Day. So we shall see how we go. I don't know about the little puff in the middle. All I remember is making that decision makes a lot more work. So maybe not a Suffolk puff, maybe just a flat. Maybe just a flat circle, but I've also got a little stash of the most beautiful vintage cream buttons, and because it is a country property, I think that might look really nice. So we'll wait and see. I think the main thing with using buttons in the centers, they need to have, for me, they need to have 4 holes, not 2, so that you can do a little cross in the middle and it feels a little bit more centered and even rather than a 2-hole button. You can do a nice little decorative cross stitch. All right, we're in. So let's have a look at the back. So you can see here that we've got all of these seams that are still floating. None of them are pinned down, but we did previously press that one and we've pressed this one. But you can see here that there is a natural way for it to fall. If you were to bring all these in from the wedge points together, you're going to have a big mess here. So in all cases what we do is we actually press the wedge shape out onto the cross blocks. And if you just stick with that all the way through, so always press your seams on your wedges to one side, and then with this one here, there is another half a cross block to go on here. So that will sit up there and then you get this going on. There you go. Now he looks uneven because I haven't got a seam in down through here yet for the next one that comes around. But that's going to give you a really nice flat finish. Like that. Also, just when you get to the end of this as well, or if you decide to make one, you can make a little one, you can make a big one, whatever you like to do. Just remember you have got a little piecing going on. So when you come to quilt, you're going to quilt it yourself on your machine or by hand. Keep your pins or your tacking stitches pretty close together. Don't go big, you sort of only want a hand distance between them that we always say. So you know it's about 6 inches maximum. I'd even bring it down a little bit more to 4 or 5 because you've got a lot of heavy piecing and a lot of pieces cut on the bias, so you need that stability. Again, if you use some open weave fabrics or a silk and you find you don't need to reinforce them before you stitch them all together, you might just use the masking tape idea or something like that. Then when you have got it all together, if you find there is still too much movement, you might want to come back and just pop some Dresden shaped pieces of a weft over the back. So cut them into the shape of a wedge, the whole Dresden wedge without the seam allowance, and actually iron it on over the top of those on the back. And that's not going to change anything, but it's going to give you a little bit more stability and even out the light and the weight difference in the textures and of your fabrics that you've used. In a full scrappy quilt, that needs consideration. And that was the conversation that in my head has come from having a good chat with the gorgeous, talented Maria Waters the other day. He told me I had to get my act together and start my Get a Life quilt. You know what Get a Life quilt is, don't you? One that you just look at one in a show when someone's made something, you go, she's got to get a life. One of those quilts. And we were talking about the fact I want to use cottons with silks, with open weave linen. Fraught with danger altogether, and we were going through all the different things that we could use to reinforce the back of the different weight fabrics. So just, you know, stick that in the back of your head for just in case. Now when you come to put all of these together, I'll just show you in the pattern down here. So this is what we've started today. So we've just done this little bit here, and we've got a couple of our little wedges together. And then Leesa mucked up and she actually pieced these together, and she needs to come back and fill the rest in. So this is what we've done, just this little section here, okay, across. And when you do come to put the quilt together, you're actually going to piece it in diagonal rows. So this one will come through and nest in here. So you'll actually have rows that are big in the middle and then come down to smaller ones. Of course, the beauty of this sort of work is you can keep adding. There is no start or finish to it, just like putting hexagons together. So you can just keep piecing and keep piecing. If you don't think it's big enough, you can add some more. The other thing you can do a bias edged quilt, so it doesn't have to be straightened off on the edge. You can actually go around each piece with your binding cut on the bias. Pop that in your brain for later for me. Otherwise you will end up with some half pieces on the edge, but that's all explained in the pattern for you. And as you can see with this one, we did finish it off. So down the edges here, you've got half blocks. Now what I actually do with this is I put 3 wedges together. You don't need the 4th out here. So you do the 3s, and then you can come through and just cut it down. And I do like that because it gives you that last minute adjustment to getting yourself a really nice straight edge down there. So have a look in your stash, see what you've got that you might like to play with. And otherwise you might like to just grab a little one of these little packs or something to have with you just for doing some lovely hand piecing over summer, or a cute little machined 9 patch or something, but it's really soft and pretty, and I think it's going to add a little bit of joy to our summer, if I can get a bit poetic on you. All right, I have so many new fabrics in here. If you come down this week, I can show you, but next weekend we are going to talk some gorgeous little, what can I say, gorgeous, unique, cute little prints for children's quilts. I know from Jason there's some drop dead gorgeous new ombre prints in from Benetix. I'm just looking down the room. There is a few amazing new things to show you, but some of them are also from Jace that arrived this week just gone. I have 4 shipments due in October from Jason and Yomu, so it's going to be one of those months. But in the meantime, I'm just going to keep trucking on and getting ready to send out our advent calendars, and also getting ready for our creative escape and the Patchwork and Produce Day in November. All fits into all of that. There's a plan. Now, if you haven't, if you don't follow Jason Yenter, you might like to follow him, because I'm sure he's going to give us some really cool sneak peeks today and tomorrow from the trade show in Houston. So the trade show happens first, which is called Quilt Market. Quilt Market runs that. If you're a store owner, we say store over there more than shop, store owner, you can go in and do schoolhouse for a couple of days, which is where all the companies and the designers and everyone get to go into a room with you for 30 minutes and you tell them all about your new fabrics or your new patterns or anything. It was nerve-wracking. I can feel my stress and the nerve-wracking bit it was a long time ago when I last did one. And then they have Quilt Market, and that runs for 3 days. And my friends, it runs. So the night before it starts, they have market spree, so you can purchase pre-cuts of new fabrics coming out from big companies. Moda has a huge stand, and from all of those, Jason, that participate. Then show runs for 3 days. 8 a.m. usually, well, it used to be 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. It's big. So you do that, and then the whole place gets pulled apart over 2 days and put back together, and then it becomes Quilt Festival, which I'm sure you know about. And then that's the huge show where they have the quilt competition and heaps of vendors, and it's massive. Everything is bigger in Texas kind of thing. So Jason, I'm sure, will be showing you some highlights from the trade show. Fingers crossed he is, and he might be worth following Jace at the moment. All right, and that's it, I think. Stacks to show you, but lots to do this month. All right, so you enjoy the rest of your Sunday, or whatever time and day it is where you are, and I look forward to seeing you next week. All right, thank you. Oh, what's to say? No, I'm not an Amanda Murphy person. Sorry, that is a distributor, Melissa, that I don't deal with. Sorry, but her stuff is super cool. But no, me, Jace, Benetix, Moda, Timeless Treasures, Hoffman. I think there's some others coming in too in the room. All right, have a great week, won't you? Thanks, everybody. Bye.